Well, the Indianapolis Colts seemingly made what should have been an easy game look very, very difficult, coming down to the very last play. What's going on? It's Elijah from Sports Talk Indy, and we have some big news coming, but we're also going to do an in-game depth breakdown for this game. We're going to talk about injuries. We're going to talk about what this means for the Colts going forward, and we're going to look ahead, but we're going to specifically talk about this game and the massive implications it has going forward and why it's a big deal, maybe bigger than any game so far. What's going on? It's Elijah from Sports Talk Indy. This is this is a game that I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The Colts seemingly tend to win the games that they shouldn't, and they most of the time lose the games that they should win. And this was definitely a game that they should have won, and they did, which goes to say the Colts are definitely a new team this year than they have been in years past. But I don't think statistically you can look at this and say that they were head and shoulders the better team going into this. It was 27-31. They were shot for shot towards the end. First quarter, each team scored a touchdown. Second quarter, Arizona scored a field goal. Colts scored a touchdown. So it was 14-10 going into the half. And that 4-point differential did not change very much. The Arizona did have a lead at one point for a very short period, but they also outperformed the Colts offensively speaking. Jacoby Brissett looked absolutely unbelievable, which was wild. He was 27 of 44, 320 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Trey McBride had a touchdown, and Greg Dortch had a touchdown. Daniel Jones, once again, looked fantastic. He was 22 of 30, 212 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. That interception was honestly the worst, though, I've seen him make as an Indianapolis Colt. It was one that, and this is the one thing that I think Daniel Jones has struggled with historically, and one thing that I think can be his fatal flaw is that once he locks into where he needs to go with the football, it's often hard for him to be convinced otherwise that that's where he's going to go with the football. It was a boot running out, kind of going off the left side, which is rare. Usually it's off the right side. So he's already throwing kind of across his body sort of thing in a really uncomfortable way for a right-handed quarterback. Throws the ball, and it goes just straight. It was picked off from the beginning, but that was the lone mistake from Daniel Jones. He looked fantastic. Jonathan Taylor, once again, looking like the best back in the league this year. I think that's bar none. I don't know that anyone right now in the running back room is performing better than Jonathan Taylor. He looked fantastic. Daniel Jones also had a rushing touchdown, and Amir Abdullah actually had a couple of receptions. It looked pretty good. Receiving-wise, Tyler Warren continues to be the best tight end in football right now. Josh Downs, 6 receptions, 42 yards. Once again, second straight week getting a touchdown. Alec Pierce making his presence known, coming back. 2 receptions, 48 yards. Both looked fantastic. And Michael Pittman, 2 receptions, 20 yards. Mekhi Blackman had an interception. Kwity Paye had 2 sacks, making his presence known. And Michael Badgley coming in off of the couch, looking fantastic. He was 3 for 3 on extra points and 2 for 2 on field goals with a long of 45. Wasn't asked to do anything crazy, but he performed perfectly on every single thing he was asked. And then, it just looked fantastic. This is, I think, where my critique would be on this game. I feel like the Colts in the offense were playing very conservative. They were playing as if they were up by 40, and that's not how they played in weeks past when they actually were up by 40. My critique of this would be that they were oftentimes that I felt that the Colts could have been more aggressive. They could, especially on the deep ball. I don't know. I've not looked at the all-22 on how they were running how the defense was scheming against them, but it did feel as though that the Colts could have been a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more explosive. That being said, Arizona did exactly that. They did look aggressive. They did look explosive. Trey McBride had a touchdown and honestly almost could have had another one. Looked very, very good. The Colts had a 9-play, 66-yard drive to end the game on a 1-yard touchdown by Jonathan Taylor, and they left 4 minutes and 32 seconds. And like I said, honestly, it was very good. The Colts did clean up another area that for the second straight week they have looked really good. They were 6 for 6 in the red zone, so they have scored every single time. They also had 3 red zone stops. The defense did show up. I think now here's the big part of this video, right? This is the big injury news. Because before the game, this was honestly, we're getting close to Halloween. It was a spooky situation that I think was honestly wild. Before the game, I was literally up on stage and get a notification from Ian Rappaport saying that that Anthony Richardson was now downgraded to QB3, which is kind of odd. I was like, oh, that's interesting, but not super surprising, as there is largely speculation that Anthony Richardson will be traded at some point in the near future before the November 4th trade deadline. But then it was reported that Anthony Richardson was downgraded to out, which again was kind of shocking. And then it was then reported that Anthony Richardson had an eye injury due to a training band. Now, to give an update on that injury, which is kind of a little bit of big news, Anthony Richardson has an orbital eye fracture. So right here, this bone, on what he was using as a leg resistance band that was either misused or malfunctioned in some way, shape, or form, and hit him in the eye. He spent the entire game in the hospital, right? So that's instance one. That's at like an hour and a half before the game. I think that's roughly about 11:30. Then comes number two. Literally, for me, to give you a play-by-play of where I was at this situation, I'm sitting at lunch 30 minutes later, getting me a Culver's, pretzel burger, which was fantastic if you care. And Charvarius Ward has been downgraded out due to concussion. So if you've seen the video, I can't show the video, but if you've seen the video, Charvarius Ward is no pads, just doing warm-ups before the game, and he runs into Drew Ogletree, tight end for the Indianapolis Colts, and just is down for a while. Looked really bad, looked very gruesome. So he's running out, and then Drew Ogletree is just kind of like running in, not looking. They collide. Drew doesn't move, and Charvarius Ward, Mooney Ward, has just collapsed on the ground. And that is the next big portion of our spooky injury news, is that he was now being diagnosed with a concussion, which means we could miss him for another 1, maybe 2 weeks. That is a big, big, big deal. Because as you look forward ahead to our future opponents, we've got the Chargers coming up this week. The Chargers are a good team. They may not always look like a good team. They're still being put together by Harbaugh. But if we're missing yet another defensive back and we don't get Kenny Moore back, this is big. Because Mekhi Blackman has looked good. Chris Lamons has looked good. But honestly, there is no more depth at this position. The Colts need to start getting guys back. We have no update on Jalen Jones. We have no update on Kenny Moore. We're hoping to see them in at least the practice report on Wednesday, that they are able to practice. But two incredibly unfortunate injuries have taken place in pregame warmups. I honestly have nothing more to say about that. It's wild. Anthony Richardson now going to be out for, again, another foreseeable future. These games that, from what you look at, it's the potentially playable games, right? So you subtract the benched games last year, where he was benched in favor of Joe Flacco, and you look at the potentially playable games. They're stacking up very, very high, because now every game he missed with his orbital eye fracture are potentially playable games that no longer are playable due to injury, which means he's going to be on the practice report. And basically, you can look at it as this. If Anthony Richardson is on the inactives due to injury, those are games that he is not playable. His unplayable games insurmountably surpass his playable games by a very large metric. And this is, again, why the Colts are making the decision time and time again to go with Daniel Jones, even before knowing how good Daniel Jones was going to be. This is the thing. This is the thing for him. It's unfortunate. It's like he's got a curse. I don't know who he needs to talk to. I don't know what oils he needs, if it's snake oils, essential oils. Something's got to give for this guy, because it is incredibly unfortunate. So, great game for the Colts. Honestly, it was a game that the Cardinals are sneaky. There's that team. It's a little frisky. You never know what you're gonna get with the Arizona Cardinals. And so this was a game that I had no idea where the Colts were gonna be. But glad to see we got a win, and now we look forward to Week 7 against the Los Angeles Chargers. We'll look forward to that one, and we'll see you on the next one.